When looking at the financial and military world, it might be easy to comprehend that these elements can be used for the benefit of the world, or the opposite. We have even become accustomed to the fact that governments don't work in our interest, even though we also still tend to believe that we voted for them and that they are supposed to be our representatives. We trust them with our money to spend it wisely, and time and again are disappointed by the results. The last decades also showed that a lot of people have been disappointed by religion. By watching episode 3 of this conclusion, you understand why. People were sick and tired of the deceit and fear-mongering of the church. What happened to these people? Did they abandon their faith, or did they find a replacement? Many millions of people have found solace in the New Age movement. Meditation, full moon rituals, ascended masters. It gives peace of mind and heart and stimulates intuitive abilities. Personally, I have been a yoga teacher and energetic therapist for 10 years, and I loved it. I never questioned the channeled truths and the tons of spiritual books I devoured. Some resonated, some didn't, that's all. If it didn't resonate, it meant I wasn't ready for it yet. To say it bluntly, I was a sheep. Being ruthlessly awakened the last decades, I am now able to see how our society works. Multiple times I was shocked to the core with what I discovered in my research. And what I am about to tell you was as shocking for me as it will be for you. It feels like the earth dissolves under your feet. It takes time to digest. It's like a process of grieving. Disbelief is followed by anger, by intense sadness, and finally by acceptance. When you reach that moment of acceptance, you can't imagine how you didn't see it before. Evidence is all around. How could I possibly have ignored it that long? Having said that, I hope you understand there is absolutely no judgment from me about whatever a person wants to believe. If you find deep satisfaction in whatever faith you choose, and if that faith makes you grow on a personal level, increases positive feelings, such as compassion and love, why change a thing? My only goal is to expose the lies and traps the Cabal has laid for you in an effort to control you. The truth will set you free is not just a phrase. It will empower you to feel and think whatever you like, without being manipulated and without hurting or limiting any other living being. Now let's dive into another deep rabbit hole: New Age. New Age has been brought into the world as the new era of love and light through personal transformation and healing. It all started with the Theosophical Society set up by Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, better known as Madame Blavatsky, in the late 19th century. Blavatsky was a 33rd degree Freemason. The Theosophical Society was a mystery school that reintroduced hidden, occult and esoteric knowledge. Blavatsky announced the coming of a new age as the higher planetary spirits, or as they were called later, the ascended masters of the Great White Brotherhood, would lead Earth and humanity into the age of Aquarius, an era of brotherhood and enlightenment. The Great White Brotherhood is a spiritual group of ascended masters who have risen from the earth into immortality and still maintain an active watch over the world. Blavatsky claimed to gain her knowledge directly from specific adepts, Mahatmas, ascended masters or initiates. But her books Isis Unveiled and its sequel, The Secret Doctrine, have been shown to be based mainly on the massive work of religious historian Godfrey Higgins. Blavatsky introduced in the Western world the notions of a single divine world soul, of which all life is a part, and of reincarnation. The Theosophical Society placed itself at the basis of all religions and philosophies, stating, "There is no religion higher than truth." The Ascended Masters themselves are said to have had incarnations in every culture, making way for a unified global belief system. When diving deeper into Blavatsky's teachings, one can be in for multiple shocks. Her massive books and teachings lure you into the understanding that good and evil have been completely misunderstood. Blavatsky is a brilliant writer, quoting hundreds of philosophers and theologians to prove her points. She easily quotes and comments on the Bible, Mahabharata and Cabal alike, the occult and ancient Oriental wisdom, as well as modern theosophists to prove the truth has been turned around. I will dedicate another episode on her teachings as they are crucial to understand the belief system of our elites. For now, since Blavatsky is at the basis of our New Age movement, it's enough to understand a few of her quotes. "It is Satan who is the god of our planet and the only god. And this without any elusive metaphor to its wickedness and depravity. For he is one with the Logos, the first son, eldest of the gods. Lucifer is divine and terrestrial light, the Holy Ghost and Satan at one and the same time. Lucifer is the spirit of intellectual enlightenment and freedom of thought, for Lucifer is the Logos. To make the point clear once for all, that which the clergy of every dogmatic religion, preeminently the Christian, points out as Satan, the enemy of God, is in reality the highest divine spirit, occult wisdom on earth. But Satan will now be shown in the teaching of the secret doctrine, allegorized as good and sacrifice, a god of wisdom under different names. In this case, it is but natural to view Satan, the serpent of Genesis, as the real creator and benefactor, the father of spiritual mankind. For it is he who was the harbinger of light, bright radiant Lucifer, who opened the eyes of the automaton created by Jehovah, and he was the first to whisper, "In the day ye eat thereof, ye shall be as Elohim, knowing good and evil," can only be regarded in the light of a Savior. In the Mahatma letters to A.P. Sinet, the first teachings of the Ascended Masters saw the light of day. Later, Charles Leadbeater, Alice Bailey, Helena Roerich, Annie Besant and Elizabeth Clare Prophet took over and molded the story of the Great White Brotherhood into the version we have today. Let me introduce you to some of these Ascended Masters. At the very top of the hierarchy of the Great White Brotherhood, we find Sanat Kumara. He is said to be the head of Earth and of humanity. His name derives from the Puranic texts of Hinduism. He is one of the 7 holy Kumaras, the Lords of Flame, who represent the 7 rays of Venus. The anagram of Sanat is Satan. Sanat Buddha Maitreya Kumara, or Lord Maitreya, the future Buddha of the world, is anchoring the Christ consciousness energy into the earth. He is the bringer of knowledge, the world teacher, and came to earth as Adam, Enoch, Krishna and Christ. Mahatma El Moria, in his previous incarnations Abraham, Melchior, King Arthur and the Maharaj of Kashmir, is the master of divine will. As personal guru of Blavatsky, he instructed her to form a secret society like the Rosicrucian Lodge, the Theosophical Society. He was said to be the author of the Mahatma letters, together with Kutumi. Later in time, these letters were proven to be of Blavatsky's handwriting, which started a new controversy about their legitimacy. Master Sananda, in his previous life Jesus of Nazareth and Adam, is currently the world teacher. The followers of Benjamin Graham and Alice Bailey believe that Master Maitreya overshadowed Master Jesus, such that there were two beings in one body. Maitreya was the Christ, and Master Jesus was Jesus of Nazareth. The combination of the two beings functioned as Jesus Christ. Mystery School The Summit Lighthouse teaches that the Ascended Master Saint Germain is the koan of the Seventh Ray and sponsor of the United States of America. He is a master alchemist of the sacred fire who comes bearing the gift of the violet flame of freedom for world transmutation. This is interesting, as his life as the Count of Saint Germain was one of great controversies. After being arrested in England in 1743 as a Jacobite spy, Count Saint Germain fled England and moved to France, establishing himself as a central figure in Louis XV's court, where he was appointed a diplomat. After a political dispute, Comte Saint Germain fled to Russia, where it is said he played an important role in the 1762 Russian Revolution. Blavatsky characterized the Count of Saint Germain as the greatest Oriental adept Europe has seen during the last centuries. The second major founder of the philosophical concepts of New Age is Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley had a deep respect for Madame Blavatsky and her teachings. Crowley himself was also a high-ranking Freemason. In 1898, being inspired by the Book of Black Magic and of Pacts, Crowley joined the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which represented itself to be the visible and earthly outer order of the Great White Brotherhood. This secret society held within its membership elite and highly influential members of society. Crowley was a 33rd degree initiate of the Scottish Rite in Mexico, 3rd degree of the Anglo-Saxon Lodge number 343 in France, 33rd degree of the irregular Cerno Scottish Rite and 95th degree of the Rite of Memphis Mizraim. Due to his insights in sex rituals, Crowley was initiated into the German-based Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO, in 1912, rising to become the leader of its British branch. In 1907, Crowley founded his magical secret society, the AA, being the structure and system of the Great White Brotherhood. Next, he founded the religion of Thelema, meant to be built on the ruins of Christianity. This new religion would be the cornerstone of the New Age, the age of the god Horus, who would preside for the next 2000 years over the evolution of consciousness on this planet. The texts of the new religion were given to Crowley by an entity named Aiwass, who claimed to be a messenger from the forces ruling this earth at present. The result of this communication was the Book of the Law, which stated that to do as thy wilt is the highest law. This book was considered by Crowley to be of equal importance as the Holy Bible, taking over its leading role for the next 2000 years, meaning a shift of 180 degrees from Father, thy will be done to there are no standards of right. Ethics is balderdash. Each star must go on its own orbit. To hell with moral principle, there is no such thing. To do as thy wilt is the highest law. In his writings, Crowley seemed dedicated to reaching spiritual enlightenment. At the same time, he called himself the Beast 666. He used to torture and kill animals, use menstrual blood for spell casting, openly admitted to making blood sacrifices to demons, and performed sex magic on his mistresses, 5 of whom ended up committing suicide. Crowley made use of witchcraft, gematria, and sexual rituals. To reach spiritual goals, he advised the use of blood sacrifices, claiming it was the theory of the ancient magicians that any living being is a storehouse of energy, varying in quantity according to the size and health of the animal, and in quality according to its mental and moral character. At the death of the animal, this energy is liberated suddenly. For the highest spiritual working, one must accordingly choose that victim which contains the greatest and purest force. A male child of perfect innocence and high intelligence is the most satisfactory and suitable victim. Crowley stated, using his pseudonym Frater Perduabo, that he sacrificed an average of 150 boys every year, which would lead up to the astonishing number of more than 2,000 children between 1912 and 1928, something that was never proven a fact. The third huge influencer of New Age was Rudolf Steiner. Very well known for his anthroposophical schools, healthcare, architecture, and biodynamic agriculture. His rudiments, however, lay in theosophy and secret societies. Steiner was the head of the German Theosophical Society from 1902 until 1913, after which he was expelled and formed his own anthroposophical society. In 1905, Steiner was invited to the inner circle of the Ordo Templi Orientis, where he became General Grand Master of Memphis and Mizraim in 1906, and founded his own lodge, the Mystica Aeterna. We will dive deeper into the Ordo Templi Orientis in another episode, as it has been fundamental for our current society. Rudolf Steiner was very familiar with the teachings of Blavatsky and her successors, like Annie Besant. Their major point of disagreement and reason of separation was the topic of the second coming of Christ. Annie Besant believed an Indian boy, Jiddu Krishnamurti, to be an incarnation of Master Maitreya. The Theosophical Society attributed a messianic status to Krishnamurti as the New World teacher, which Steiner dismissed. In 1929, Krishnamurti himself denounced the concepts of saviors, spiritual teachers, leaders and followers. He rejected all doctrines and theories of inner, spiritual and psychological evolution as implied in the Theosophical teachings, and cut his ties to Theosophy entirely. He vowed to work exclusively on setting humankind absolutely and unconditionally free. This caused a great crisis within the Theosophical Society. A crisis, but not the end of it. As we've seen throughout history, whenever one door is closed, another is opened. It is said that Hitler's spiritual philosophy was based entirely on the occult teachings of Blavatsky. He aimed to recreate the Aryan root race Blavatsky elaborates on in her books. and searched for their origin in the mountains of Tibet. The creation of a better human race and the founding of a new world order didn't stop there. Meet Alice Bailey, another disciple of Madame Blavatsky. She founded the Lucis Trust and Arcane School of Esoteric Studies. She wrote 24 books, all telepathically channeled by an entity called Dwal Kul, also known as the Tibetan. Alice Bailey elaborated on Blavatsky's work about the ascended masters of the Great White Brotherhood, adding the 7 rays, meditations and initiations to it. Alice Bailey aimed higher than just being theosophical. She worked out a practical guide that described how to achieve the New World Order. The newly founded United Nations were soon very interested in her work. World citizenship should be the goal of the enlightened. We need also a planetary way of life, a planetary ethics, and a planetary way of feeling. Evidence of the growth of the human intellect can be seen in the planning of various nations and in the efforts of the United Nations to formulate a world plan. Alice Bailey was a Freemason. Being member of the Verulam Lodge No. 525 in New York, she founded her own Masonic Lodge in 1930, deepening her occult studies even further. She founded several organizations based on promoting goodwill among men and a great world religion that would unite all faiths. Bailey's writings show us a new world order shaped by spiritual forces and entities. The present world order, which is today largely disorder, can be so modified and changed that a new world and a new race of man can gradually come into being. Renunciation and the use of the sacrificial will should be the keynote, prior to the inauguration of the new age. All will have that which is needed for right living processes. The New World Order must be appropriate to a world which has passed through a destructive crisis and to a humanity which is badly shattered by the experience. Do you remember the Protocols of Zion? In part 4 of the sequel, we showed you this.
The moment of the recognition of our despot will come when the peoples, utterly wearied by the incompetence of their rulers, a matter which we shall arrange for, will cry out, "Away with them, and give us one king over all the earth, who will unite us and annihilate the causes of disorders, who will give us peace and quiet, which we cannot find under our rulers and representatives. Then will the mob exalt us and bear us up in their hands in a unanimous triumph of hopes and expectations."
Bailey confirms this path by saying, "In the preparatory period for the New World Order, there will be a steady and regulated disarmament. It will not be optional." Well, we all know what mandatory disarmament led to in history. In her book, The Destiny of the Nations, Bailey describes a process by which a new race will evolve, after which very low-grade human bodies will disappear, causing a general shift in the racial types towards a higher standard. Did she predict the genetic modification of humanity, creating human-robot hybrids, an agenda now publicly endorsed and pursued by Yuval Harari and Elon Musk? After Bailey's death in 1949, the UN took it a step further, mixing cultural concerns with their goal of a new race and world control. The Club of Rome was founded to raise the concern about overpopulation. In 1993, the Club of Budapest saw the light of day. This club brings creative input to the UN through literature, art, and spirituality. This creative input led to new concerns: global warming, pandemic diseases, refugeeism. More and more celebrities became members of the Club of Budapest, all repeating the same message. The world's challenges can only be met with a global cultural awareness, meaning sustainability, worked out in Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030. New Age, imposed on you by those you admire and trust, is nothing more than the same old doctrine in a new fashion. We've seen it all before. It's of all ages. The tools used in New Age are meant to keep you submissive and fearful. You are not allowed to challenge the narrative, which would be the same as denouncing the masters. This is just a new Catholic, meaning universal, world religion, meant for world domination. Would you like to see some shocking examples? Let's have a look at one of the most influential New Age books, A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles is published by the Foundation for Inner Peace. Two names are mentioned as founders, Helen Schucman and Bill Thetford, together with John Gittinger. What do we know about these people? Helen Schucman was a clinical psychologist, research psychologist, and professor of medical psychology at Columbia University, New York. She wrote A Course in Miracles from 1965 to 1972, channeled by Jesus. Bill Thetford was director of clinical psychology at the Columbia Presbyterian Hospital. In 1955, Thetford was invited by Dr. Harold G. Wolff to join him at Cornell University in New York City, where Thetford worked as chief psychologist on CIA's Project QK Hilltop, later to be called Project Bluebird and Project Artichoke. These projects focused on brainwashing techniques, or MK-Ultra, and effective methods of interrogation. They experimented with all kinds of secret drugs to ascertain the fundamental effect upon human brain function and upon the subject's mood. Dr. Wolff demanded, where any of the studies involve potential harm of the subject, we expect the agency to make available suitable subjects and a proper place for the performance of the necessary experiments. Helen Schucman joined Thetford as his assistant. Moral and ethical values seemed unnecessary requirements for these studies. John W. Gittinger, a psychologist, was the CIA's top man in terms of programming of children. 14 years before the Course in Miracles project started, he developed, together with Bill and Helen, the Personality Assessment System, PASS, for the CIA. The past was meant to predict and influence the behavior of individuals based on their weak spots in their personalities, their egos. This system also shows mental weaknesses, where a person will be unstable and can be broken by means of repeated stress and trauma. The Course in Miracles website proudly states how perfect their collaboration was for paving the way for the Course and its teachings. It made me feel sick discovering all this planned manipulation. Again, they didn't hide it, we just never saw it. Also, I studied the Course in Miracles, not understanding a thing of what I read, but determined to become enlightened by it. Was the Course in Miracles set up as a mind control instrument by the CIA? And if so, what was implanted in our brains? Let me introduce you to one last influential New Age guru, Vadusev Sadhguru, a very popular guru in Hollywood and among globalists. As founder of the Isha Foundation, which is supported by 11 million volunteers in 300 centers worldwide, Sadhguru's personal net worth is estimated at $15 million. Despite being a spiritual leader, he hasn't sworn off materialistic possessions, and he is known for his fondness for luxury cars, motorbikes and private air travel, partly to show people that you can be materialistic while pursuing a spiritually enlightened life. He gave lectures to Google, Microsoft, the World Bank, the World Economic Forum, and the United Nations. This is his message to the world.
We are nice, but we are just too many. But believe me, it is much easier to control human population than human aspiration.
They want more souls, I want less on the planet.
Oh my God! Is there no one out there we can trust? Who can we follow? What do we believe? In the end, every guru seems to fall off his pedestal. Every spiritual organization, every well-meant initiative seems to become prey to corruption and scandals, often involving sex. Nearly every attempt to set up parallel societies fails due to human egos. Why doesn't the New Age succeed? Is there something we don't see? I would say that masters and gurus are of the old age. They are as human as we are, and just as susceptible to temptation, blackmail and corruption. They endure the same ego struggles as everybody else, unless they are truly enlightened. There are many self-proclaimed enlightened gurus out there, but only a few really are. Let's get back to Krishnamurti. I don't give a hoot for a 6th century BC Buddha, let alone all the other claimants we have in our midst. They are a bunch of profiteers who make use of people's gullibility. There is no power outside of you. Man created God out of fear, so the problem isn't God, the problem is fear. The true meaning of a new age is that you start developing your own power, your own divinity. So please continue praying, meditating and performing yoga. It will clear your mind, exercise your body, free your energy and connect you with a higher love. From that connection comes insight, truth and inspiration. You are the one you have been waiting for. No ascended master will come to your aid. No angel, or president, or king of kings will save you. Only you can save you. Only you can set you free. Do you know how? By changing your perception. by acknowledging that you are consciousness, that you are everything. No religion or belief system is needed. When you choose to fit yourself into a belief system, whatever system or religion that may be, you close off a part of your being. Didn't Jesus say, "Know thyself"? If you make your subconscious belief system conscious, meaning you become aware of who you really are, you can take control, not only of your life, but of your complete reality. That is the meaning of true growth, and that's what they fear. Getting to know your true self, your subconscious, is really the way, the truth, and the life. It will take at least a lifetime of dedication to do it. Krishnamurti explains a bit further. But those who really desire to understand, who are looking to find that which is eternal, will be a danger to everything that is unessential, to unrealities, to shadows. And they will concentrate, they will become the flame, because they understand. Such a body we must create, and that is my purpose. One of the main topics of theosophy is the role of Satan and Lucifer as bringer of higher knowledge. Both Aleister Crowley and Rudolf Steiner studied the exact same occult knowledge. But their works into this world seem to be opposites. How is that possible? How does one become a Satanist? And what does a true Satanist believe? Let's dive into this in part 5 of the conclusion to the fall of the Cabal.